We're live.
We are live? Okay, so VP's right with me as we go live again. Okay, sorry for the technical difficulties. All right, okay, so again, quick reminder, if you do have something that looks like this, please turn them off or at least on vibrate or on stun, right? Second thing is we are a mastermind. So what are we, guys? Mastermind. Yeah, mastermind. Thank you. Hey, great energy this morning. Let's keep it up. Okay? Outstanding. That's right. 8 o'clock in the morning, most people are still kind of like half asleep, but we want to get off to a great start today, right? So we're a mastermind. Who can give me a definition of a mastermind? Besides BP right now, I'll let you answer some of them, but you can't answer all of them, Brian. You'll steal the show. Who knows what a mastermind is, guys?
It's a group of people that comes with the same energy and talent and come together for a common purpose.
Okay, come together for a common purpose. And as Randy is dancing around reminding all of us, we come together in the spirit of
Harmony.
Harmony important. How many agree harmony is important? Who can define for me what harmony means, Aaron? Great to see you, buddy. What's harmony mean? What's it mean? BP.
Being in the same energy or vibration.
Yeah, when you hear a group and they're singing in harmony, what does that mean? That means all their voices are all blending together beautifully. True or true? Right? That's harmony, right? What's disharmony? What's a good give me an example of disharmony. Randy.
When you're driving along and somebody comes in your lane uninvited.
Uninvited, okay, all right. Anybody else? That's a good one. Okay, what else is an example of disharmony? Yes, go ahead.
I'm thinking acrimony or antagonism.
Yeah, acrimony, antagonism. You know, really, disharmony is when we allow our own personal feelings, our own personal emotions come in front of what's best for the group as a whole. You're going to become your own opera singer in the middle of instead of singing with the group in harmony, you're going to go do your own thing, right? That's disharmony. Go ahead, Randy.
I'm setting off my phone on stun or vibrate, that's harmonious.
Yes, there
If
you
I
go.
take calls during the meeting, that's disharmonious.
Disharmony. Okay, exactly. All right. So the thing is that the whole concept of masterminding is to get the best ideas that come together when we all come together. Because what happens is, Napoleon Hill said it, anytime two minds come together, a third mind is formed. How many would agree with that?
Yes.
What's that mean, a third mind is formed?
Mastermind.
Yeah, a mastermind. The best of my mind, and VP's mind, and Mitch's mind, and all of our minds, we can each add something to what we're talking about so we come up with the best of all ideas. How many would agree? Okay. And in fact, as we talk about almost every single week, the whole concept of mastermind was introduced to Napoleon Hill by Andrew Carnegie, who said that the reason he was so amazingly rich and so amazingly successful was because he brought an expert who was a genius in each area that was responsible for putting together a U.S. Steel corporation. So in a corporation, what kind production minds? Yes? How many would we have to you have to have operations minds? You have to have marketing minds? You have to have sales minds? Just what he surrounded himself with. The best in every single important position that it would take to manufacture and sell a shitload of steel. Yes, go ahead.
Wouldn't it also be true that that group has to be in harmony, like
They do. That's why you call it.
compatible, like some people just don't work together?
Absolutely. In fact, what he taught was that in order to be part of his mastermind, now listen to this closely, guys. This is important. In order to be part of the mastermind, not only did you have to be outstanding at what you did, you had to be able to get along with the other members of the mastermind. And if you couldn't stay in the mastermind. You guys understand?
Yes.
If you caused any ripples whatsoever, you were gone. Do you know what happens if you take a rotten piece of fruit and stick it in the middle of a whole bunch of fresh fruit?
They all get rotten.
Yeah. Yeah, what's the best thing to do if you've got a whole bunch of fresh fruit and there's one rotten piece of fruit?
Throw it away, don't include it.
Yeah, you say, thank you for being in my mastermind, but you're not in it anymore. You guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And this is what he attributed to his great success, and this is what he said, if any one of you guys want to achieve something big, don't think for a second you're going to be able to do it on your own. No way. You can't possibly know everything you need to know about marketing, sales, production, operations, systems, organization, management, training, competition. You don't have enough time to learn all that stuff. True or true?
True.
How many of you guys want to do something on a big scale?
Hell yeah.
If you want to do something on a big scale, you need to surround yourself with a mastermind. Who are the people that you need to have in your circle that together, the ideas that you come up with together are the best of ideas? If I have a salesperson and a marketing person, a production person, operations person, assistance person, and I'm sitting there and they say, let's come up with $1 million idea, and the production guy says, I know this thing that everybody in the world wants. And then the sales guy says, I can sell that, and the marketing guy says, just tell me exactly what tools you need to sell. Tell me what I need to look at. And then you got your operations people that say, well, let's systemize every part of the business, so once we got it down pat, we can just duplicate it and grow like crazy. Now, nobody on their own knew the answer to all of that, but guess what the mastermind was able to come up with? The answer. Could any of you have done it on your own? Could any people do this on their own?
No.
No way. So the power of the mastermind is to understand. See, one of the biggest things about what we're doing here is I hope you understand that your brain is like a computer. Like a what?
Computer.
Yeah. And the information that you've been putting into your mind, or I shouldn't say you've allowed, because that's what's really going on. How many would agree? You've allowed to let certain information get into your mind every single day from the time you were born. And that would be fine if there weren't a bunch of viruses attached to all the information. So now you have a brain that's like a computer that's filled with programs that are totally loaded with viruses. You guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And you want to know the only reason why you aren't as happy as you would love to be and as rich as you'd love to be right now? Because of the viruses that are talking to you all day long, and you think that that's your best friend telling you what the smart thing to do. True or true?
True.
And so the 2% Club is to teach all of you guys, or hopefully you want to learn how to escape those viruses. How many agree you have viruses inside your mind right now? How many would agree? The only way, and by the way, the only way, all of us have them, and guess when they pop up? Guess when the viruses pop up?
We have some.
Yeah.
Resistance.
When it's time for you to make an important decision, those viruses pop up. When it's time for you to decide what to have for lunch, or what you're going to wear today, no problem, those viruses never show up. But when you decide, what is my career going to be? How am I going to make the best use of my time today? When you start making these decisions, guess what pops up? Viruses. You should be spending the next 3 hours reaching out to people, seeing if there's a way you can get together with them to see how you might be able to collaborate together. But instead of doing that for 3 hours, you're going to serve Facebook for 3 hours and see what everybody's got going on in their life. True, true. This is everybody. Is that the best use of your time? Surfing Facebook, calling all your friends, texting everybody with all the latest kind of stuff? No, but this is how we're programmed. Now, I teach a program called Warrior. In Warrior training, what we talk about is that if a warrior does something, they do it 100%. So here's what I'd like for you guys to do right now before we really get started here, is if you don't have a piece of paper or if you have a pad, that's fine too. But I want you to write down, why did you come here this morning? Why did you come here this morning? Just go ahead and write it down. It's always important to know why you're here. you don't know why you're here, you can't accomplish much. Okay, and we'll give you another 30 seconds if you haven't finished already. How many of you have already finished? Okay, how many want just a little bit more time? Okay. Give it just a little bit more time.
Sounds like Las Vegas. Let's go.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Someone just hit the jackpot.
I don't know if these are
That's
good.
a
I don't know.
programming there, my
I don't know if these are good memories or bad memories.
Okay, alright. So real quickly, who wants to share, why did you come here this morning? Who wants to share? Go ahead, Scott.
To learn how to be you.
Modeling. Modeling.
Who else wants to share? Go ahead, Robert. You want to learn how to deal with the viruses in your head. How many can relate to that? Yeah, we all need to learn how to deal with those viruses in our heads because we all got them. Okay, who else wants to share? Yeah, go ahead, Mitch.
All right, I came here this morning for knowledge, continuity of focus, and community.
Okay, wow. Okay, a lot of great things there. Okay, yes, go ahead.
To get my mind refocused and aligned with my goals and habits of creating a life of joy, happiness, and love.
Wow, all right. I like that one. Very good. Who else wants to share? Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
I'm here to deprogram at least one bad habit from the program.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, how many guys are here to learn this morning? How many of you guys are here to unlearn this morning? What do you think is more important?
Unlearn.
Yeah, because you know what? You already know what you need to know to be successful. The problem is, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you know that just ain't so, that stops you from being successful. If you unlearned all the bullshit and just kept a hold of the truth that you have inside of you right now, all of you would be 10 times wealthier and 100 times happier. How many of you guys would love for that to happen in your life? Isn't that really what life is all about? To have abundance in your life, to have happiness in your life, to have joy in your life, to have fulfillment in your life, to have purpose in your life. How many want that in your life? So a lot of the reason I hope you're here is because you're here to unlearn. What's the word?
Unlearn.
Yeah, twice as loud, please.
Unlearn.
There's way too much stuff going on in your head right now that you believe is true that just isn't. And as long as you believe those truths, guess who they're true for? They're true for you. So even though they're disempowering and negative thoughts, did you know that 90% of the thoughts you think all day long are disempowering and negative?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Why would you want to do that to yourself? Why would any rational, intelligent human being want to dedicate 90% of their thoughts to negative and disempowering thoughts? Why would we do that? Go ahead, BP.
So we're not rational, we're emotional creatures.
We're emotional creatures. And Ted, what were you going to add to that?
It keeps you safe.
It keeps you safe. Yeah, why else? Anybody have any other ideas?
You don't realize you're doing it.
That's right. It's so normal to us. You know, and again, when does a fish realize that it lives in water? That's the only time, as long as that fish is living in water, it doesn't realize it's living in water. True or true? True. And you can't realize you're living in your lies and your bullshit till you get out of it. True or true?
True.
That's why warrior training is so important, because how many of you would love to make a huge quantum shift in your life certainly in the next few weeks? We're not talking years. I'm talking quantum shift. I'm talking about you go from where you are right now to all of a sudden, holy shit, I thought it would take me 5 years to get there. I'm going there right now. How many would like that to happen quickly? You want to know the quickest way to make that happen? How many would like to know the quickest way to make that happen? Okay, the quickest way to make that happen is to realize that we are, let me just, some of you guys have heard me talk about this before, but it's very important that you learn this and you truly understand it. Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay, so how many of you truly, totally believe that you have unlimited potential? That you could live the life of your dreams, you could actually create the financial freedom you want, you could actually have purpose to your life, you could have joy to your life. How many believe that that's actually possible for you? Okay, when you came into this world, and you were first born into this world, what were your possibilities? What potential did you have?
Unlimited.
How many agree? When you came into this world, you had unlimited potential. Right? How many believe you still have unlimited potential? Okay, we all have it, right? Okay, so when we come into the world, we have this unlimited potential that still exists inside of us. Why do you think like 99.9% of all people never reach their unlimited potential?
Because we listen to the bull crap going on in our head.
Yeah, absolutely, because of our programming, because of our what's a word?
Programming.
Yeah, exactly. So when we come into this world, we are our true self. What's the expression?
True self.
Yeah, sometimes we call it our higher self. What's it called?
Higher self.
Now, this is you when you're functioning at 100%, when you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing in your life, when you're happy, when you're fulfilled, when you're living your purpose in life, when you're creating financial freedom for yourself, when you're impacting the lives of thousands, if not millions of people. How many believe that that's inside of you right now? How many believe that's not inside of you right now? How many are not sure? Okay, so maybe it is. Maybe for right now, I want you to open up your mind and believe that's a possibility. That it's actually possible for any human being, if they actually got into their true self, to achieve everything they truly wanted in life. And by the way, this is not just my thought. The most brilliant minds in the history of mankind have always taught this. All of us have a higher self. All of us have a true self. How many would agree you have a full potential? How many would agree, right? Okay. Now, everybody's full potential might be different from everybody else's. True or true? True. But you do have a full potential, right? Yeah. How many would agree? Okay. So the all-important question is, how close are you coming today to reaching your full potential? And how many of you would say that you're at 100%? How many would say you're at 90%? 80, 70, 60? Okay, well, we have a couple. Okay. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. How many believe that's the surface? See, I would say for almost everybody in this room, if you were going to be honest with yourself, that would be the truth. No, there's a reason for that. Because this is when we were born into this world, this came with us. But then what happened is we started to get information. And we started to fill up our computer brain with information. And included with all this knowledge, it was completely contaminated with lies. So as we were taking in the knowledge, we were also taking in the lies. A shitload of it. In fact, most of our knowledge is totally contaminated with lies. And that's who we learn to become, which is otherwise known as our false self. What's it called?
False self.
Yeah, we also call it our conditioned mind. What's it called?
Conditioned mind.
Yeah. And we also call it our ego. What's it called? Ego. And sometimes we also call it our personality. Okay. They're all the same thing. Okay. So we got our true self, we got our false self. Every one of us. Because all of us started getting information from when? When did we start putting information into our brains? From when? Birth. Yeah. Okay. So we have our true self, which is when we're playing at the best we can play. We're absolutely in our highest self. We're reaching our full potential. And then we have this that keeps us where we are. So on the scale, where here you are at level 10, and here you are at level 0, and the only way to be at level 9 or 10 is to live most of your life here. And usually, if you live in here, you're usually living a 0 or 1 life. Where do you think most people live? Where do you think most people live, guys?
Ego.
How many of you think that you spend more time here than here? I see show of hands. How about out there in the people that you meet in the public? What percentage of the people that you meet in the public do you think are spending more time living in their false self than living in their true self? 98%? I'd say 99.99999%. Did you know most people don't even know they have a true self? If this is normal, then this is like the fish in water. How is the fish in water ever going to know it lives in water? How is the fish ever going to know it lives in water?
in your class.
The fish is going to know it lives in water when it's not in water, right? Then it says, holy shit, I live in water. The only way you're going to know you're living in your false self is to get into your true self. Yeah. How often do you get into your true self? And the definition of a warrior, how many of you guys want to reach your full potential? Then where do you need to be living your life? In your true self or your false self?
True self.
Yeah, except the only problem is you spend almost all your time, in fact, probably for most of you, all your time in your false self, and you're never even in touch with your true self. You don't even know it exists, because this is normal. Now, what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. If you keep going to this mind to get the answers to your problems, you know what you're going to get?
Same result.
Now, if you do go to this mind to get your answers, you're going to get a whole different set of answers. If you get different answers, you're going to get different results. But if you keep going back to the same well every single time, if this mind created the problem, this mind cannot solve it. You guys understand what I just said?
Yeah.
Yeah, the mind that created this problem cannot solve it. So you have two minds. Right? And the question is, who's in control? The false self or the true self? And in most people's cases, most people, they live in their false self. Well, at the 2% Club, well, I want all of you guys and anybody that's watching and everybody that you communicate with to let them be aware that until they're living here, they're always going to be stuck. Because included in here are a million viruses that will sabotage you every day of the week, all day long. True or true?
True.
And I'm telling you, at 65, I've seen it long enough, I know this to be a fact. There's millions of books written about this stuff. Why do you think there's so many books written about this stuff?
It's true.
Is it important?
It's important.
Do you think most people realize this? Even though there's all these books written about it, most people don't even realize that there's something called the false self, right? Okay. So, I want for you guys to understand this, because if you don't understand this, you don't have a chance. You don't have a chance, no matter what you're taught. You can go to real estate school and learn how to get rich as an investor. You can go to e-commerce school, learn how to get rich as an online marketer. You can learn how to do notes, you can learn how to do all kinds of other things. But until you get this part straightened out, if you're a level 1 person, no matter what you get into, you know what kind of results you're going to get?
Level 1.
And you know what kind of results most people get?
Level 1. Less than.
If you want level 10 results, you've got to be a level 10 person. True or true?
True.
Now, can you buy that, or do you have to grow into that? You can't buy becoming a level 10 person. You can't buy having. I mean, you can pay other people to do push-ups instead of you, but if you want to build up your arms, you want to build up your strength, you got to do it yourself. True or true?
True.
If you want to get to the top of the mountain, right, hey Janice, great to see you. And Terry, it's good to see you. So, I mean, you've got to be prepared to become a level 10 person. Because until you become a level 10 person, you know what kind of results you're going to get? You're going to get shitty results. And you're going to say, every year it's the same darn thing. How many of you guys have ever gone through that experience? It's like, this year's kind of like last year's, kind of like the year before that. It's kind of like, it's this vicious cycle I can't get out of. True or true?
True.
And until you understand this, you're trapped. Because the more you are in your true self, the more you go, you move up to level 2, and then you move up to level 3, and then you move up to level 4. How many believe that you could grow in character to become a level 10 person? How many believe that's learnable, that you could actually practice it until it just becomes natural for you? Great, okay. So, really important that you guys understand this stuff, because if you don't understand this stuff, then you have no chance. Right? And Napoleon Hill said there's only 2% of all people, that live in it. He talks about it in Think and Grow Rich and Outwitting the Devil, that when he was at his lowest times in his life, that's when he met the other side. Right? I can't recall if he called it the other person or his higher side, but basically he was introduced to this. Guess who you need to be introduced to? Your true self. Your true self. Right? Because let me ask you guys something. Think of your mind as a computer. If you could load whatever computer programs you wanted into your computer mind, what programs would you choose to load? Would you want to choose to load a program that says, here's how you become a happier person? Would you like to load that program into your... here's how to become a more productive person. Would you like to load that one? Here's how to learn how to become good at learning whatever you want to learn. Would that be a good program to install in your mind? What other programs could you install in your mind?
How to earn passive income.
How to earn passive income. What else?
How to be more creative.
How to be more creative. Absolutely. What else?
How to push through resistance.
How to push through resistance. What else? Could you, if you said, I want to learn how to become fantastic at selling, could you learn how to do that?
Yes.
How about, I want to learn how to become fantastic at marketing, so I always have a bunch of people that really want what I got to talk to all the time. Could you learn how to do that?
Yes.
What else could you learn?
How to be a leader.
How to be a leader, absolutely. Could you learn how to speak in front of a group of people like this?
Yes.
What kind of programs do you want? Do you think that there are books and there are tapes and there are CDs and there are mentors that can help you install exactly the programs you want inside of your mind right now?
Yeah.
Okay, now instead of doing that, everybody goes through their day in kind of like a haphazard way, and whatever happens, happens, whoever they talk to. Could you structure your day so you say, my brain is like a computer. What programs do I want to install inside my computer that are going to make me happier, more successful, live a life of purpose, have a life of meaning, give joy, have joy, and make a major contribution? What kind of program could you begin to install into your mind that would allow you to achieve everything you want? By the way, who is it up to install those in programs?
Me.
Are they out there?
Yes.
There's books and tapes and CDs and videos and courses on everything. How many would agree?
Yes.
There are experts out there who have already figured out exactly the best systems and ways to do things to get the best results. How many would agree?
Yeah.
Do you think there are geniuses out there who devised, here is the best way to manage your time? How many believe that there are great books out there on time management? Now, how important is your time?
Very important.
Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you manage your time?
10.
How many manage your time at a 10? How many manage your time at something less than a 10? Be honest, come on. If time is the most precious commodity you have, don't you think you should have a system, and what's the key word?
System.
That you follow to manage your time instead of doing it in a haphazard way? How many think that would be a good... Now, are there multiple time management books, strategies that you could employ? How many agree that there are? Pick one! Just pick one and follow that system. And if it doesn't work, you can always look at some other ones, but start creating a system for everything. What would happen if all of a sudden you gained another 2 hours a day because you were more efficient with your time and you weren't wasting so much time? What would happen if suddenly you had 2 more hours a day because you weren't wasting your time?
Everything will get better.
Everything would get better, right? How many would agree? Everything would get better, right? So, alright, so a couple of questions here. Number one is, how many of you guys would like to have a whole lot more happiness in your life? I see show hands, great. How many would like to have a whole lot more money in your life? How many would like to have a whole lot more of both in your life? Okay, so we are definitely in the right place, right? So the first thing I want to do here is I want to acknowledge you guys for showing up, right? What's the expression? 80% of all success is?
Showing up.
Thank you. So what I want for you guys to do real quickly is to reach around and pat both your neighbors on the back and say, congratulations for showing up.
Congratulations for showing up.
Congratulations for showing up. You're here every time.
Lost the focus of the vision.
Okay, good job.
Congratulations.
So real quickly, anytime I do any speaking or any training, I always have 2 rules. How many rules do I have?
2.
Thank you. The first rule is this: don't believe a word I say. Why do I always remind you not to believe a word I say? Why?
Because what you say is your experiences and what It's not our experience.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, you bet. I can only come from my own experience, and it does not make it true or false or right or wrong. All it makes is my own experience. But whose experience is important here this morning?
My
Absolutely.
experience.
Don't never ever forget that, right? So all I can tell you guys is that the principles and the ideas that we cover every single Tuesday morning have transformed my life and have now transformed the lives of literally thousands and thousands and
Thousands.
thank you, of other people. And if you learn them and if you use them in your life, I believe your life can be transformed too. So how many guys would be want to be open? And what's the key word?
Open.
Open, open. You got to be open, absolutely. And actually do these principles and ideas in your life. And if they work for you, you're going to keep on doing them. And if they don't work for you, you're free to toss them away. How many guys want to be open 100%? Anybody not? Okay, we're going to find out. Now, as for rule number 2, since we all agree our time is precious, how many agree our time is precious? I only have 90 minutes here. Man, I wish I had like a lot more time. But 90 minutes is 90 minutes, so we want to get the very most out of these 90 minutes. How many would agree?
Yes.
Right. So how many would like to learn faster?
Yes.
Good. How many would like to remember more of what you learned?
Yes.
Terrific. And research indicates that the key to that is what?
Participation.
Yeah, participation and involvement, absolutely. How many guys notice I ask a lot of questions? Yes. And what do questions do?
Hook the mind.
Yeah, questions hook the mind. How many of you guys are in sales or in marketing or in business of some sort? Okay, we're all in the business of sales and marketing, by the way. So if we're in the business of sales and marketing, how many of you guys have clients or you'd like to have clients? How many would like to have clients that actually listen to you every once in a while? Yeah, so from now on, what are you going to do? You're going to ask them a question. Yeah, and when you learn how to ask questions in the right sequence, pre-planned questions, pre-planned intelligent questions, you can actually take a cold prospect and turn them into a hot fire. How many believe that's actually true? Sure. Yep, absolutely is. In fact, I'm teaching a 2-day event called the $1 Million Sales Intensive, where I actually teach you the questions to ask and the sequence to ask them. It's brilliant. It is totally brilliant. So I would encourage all of you guys to consider going to it. So sometimes I leave the last word off the end of my sentence and your mind just fills in the blank. You guys are good. Sometimes I'll ask you to write something down, and sometimes I'll ask you to repeat things. Now, why would I ask you to repeat something? Mitch?
Repetition is the mother of learning.
It sure is, boy. Repetition is the mother of learning. Let me hear all of you guys say that. Repetition is the mother of learning. Come on, twice as loud.
Repetition is the mother of learning.
Thank you. Janice?
Well, when you say one thing, when you say something, it means one thing. When I say it, it means one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Did everybody hear Janice?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I say it, it means one thing. When you say it means
Everything.
Remember that. I'm telling you, as you go out there into the world, the more you can get the other person to say the words instead of you saying the words, it's a zillion times more powerful. So how many guys want to participate 100%? Yeah. Is anybody not? Okay, we're going to find out. And just for the record, how many of you guys wouldn't raise your hands no matter what I asked you? Okay, you got always a smart ass over there. Okay, very good. All right. How many guys want to have some fun this morning? Yeah. Outstanding, that's what we want to do. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is before we get into today's wealth file, pardon me, how many of you guys have your declaration sheets? How many of you guys need a declaration sheet? Okay, so a couple of you. Okay, I have a few answers here. So keep your hand raised. Okay. So do me a favor, since we don't have enough, is take a picture with your phone, and that way you'll have it on your phone, and that way, because here we go, and maybe you guys can share it. Well, and take it, like I said, take a picture and put it on your phone. That way you'll always have it, right? All right, I think I gave away my last one here. Okay, so real quickly. First of all, before we do that, can we give it up for Corey, Loanatik, Schwartz? You know, Corey so graciously gives up his place here for us every single Tuesday morning. Look at the bagels, the lox, the cheese, the fruits, you name it, man. I mean, we have such a great display here, and it's all thanks to Corey. So, again, let's give it up one more time for Corey, if you will, please. Thank you, Corey. Great job. Thank you so much. So, thank you to Corey. Okay, so we're going to do our declaration. And you know, how many believe that what we need to do is we need to reprogram our minds? How many agree? That's what we got to do, right? In fact, I was talking about this whole idea of unlearning. What's the word? Unlearning. Yeah. In fact, there was a book and it was called Future Shock, and in it, the author was saying that and this was written back in the 1970s, and what he said is by the year 2010, which is where we're already at, we're past that, he said that the people that are going to survive in this world are those people that can learn, that understand that they need to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So what are the three things? Learn, unlearn, and relearn. Because things are changing quickly. How many would agree? Yeah. Yeah. What was high tech 5 years ago was low tech today. True or true? True. What was true 5 years ago is probably bullshit today in many instances. True or true? True. So you have to be good at learning, unlearning, and relearning. Because what you learned last year, very often by this year, it's old news. True or true? True. And if you keep doing things the way it was being done last year, when it's a whole new world this year, you're going to be left in the dust. True or true? True. So at some point, you have to let go of what you learned last year, unlearn it, and learn what's current today. True or true? True. When's the best time to get good at doing all that stuff? Now. Yeah, right now. Absolutely. So you have to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Okay? So declarations are a great way for you to begin to plant in your subconscious mind. Where? Subconscious. How many believe you have a subconscious mind? You. Yeah, how important is your subconscious mind to your success?
It's everything. Paramount.
Why? Ruben, you said it was paramount. Why is the subconscious mind paramount?
Because it allows you to manifest things that you program yourself with.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Anybody else want to add anything to that? Yes, go ahead, Kev.
Because you are your subconscious mind.
Your subconscious mind is you?
That's
or
you.
you are your subconscious mind? Which is it?
Both.
Both? Okay, all right, that's interesting. Okay, I would say you are not your mind.
Nope.
You are separate from your mind. But your subconscious mind is so powerful that the more that you can place the right information inside of it, when those thoughts bubble up throughout the day, instead of negative and disempowering thoughts, if you program your subconscious mind with only positive and empowering thoughts, what are the only kind of thought bubbles that can pop up? Yeah, right now, 90% of all the thoughts that bubble up to you throughout the day are negative and disempowering. Guess why?
Because that's your subconscious mind.
Who planted all that stuff inside your subconscious mind?
It randomly planted itself.
As long as you approved it, whatever information came in, if it got past your the approver says, "Yep, I approve what you just said." Go in the subconscious mind, right? Like the bouncer at the door, right? The only thing is, when you're 3 or 4 years old, the bouncer at the door lets everybody in. Yeah. Is that true? Yeah, of course. When you're 3 or 4 years old, guess what you were letting in?
Everything your mom told you.
Yeah, guess what all's inside your subconscious mind to this very minute? You think what you learned when you were 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, it's not in your subconscious mind anymore? It just disappears, or do you think it's always there?
Oh,
It's deep down in there, boy. Those roots are deep. Deep, right? So the best way for us to reprogram ourselves is with verbal, out loud declarations that we say with meaning, with emotion. What are the 2 words? Meaning and emotion. We say them with meaning and we say them with emotion. So I want everybody to stand up with a little bit of energy. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I want you to put your hand on your heart so you can actually feel the physical vibration as we say the words. And we're going to say these declarations all out together. Here we go. I commit to my personal development. Whatever I do it 100% or not at all. How I do anything is how I do everything. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. I choose financial freedom and the lifestyle it provides. My goal is to create passive income streams. I will master the skills and mindset of business. I will never quit until I succeed. I have a millionaire mind. Turn to both your neighbors, give them a high five, say, you have a millionaire mind.
You have a millionaire mind.
Very good. Okay, have a seat, guys. Great job. Great job. Okay, what we're going to do right now is we're going to get into wealth file number 12. Number 12. Thank you. Wealth file number 12. And wealth file number 12 in the book Secrets Secrets of the Millionaire Mind can be found on page 131. How many of you guys actually have your book with you? Okay, how many of you, maybe you can share it with someone nearby that doesn't have the book so that you can get the very most out of it. Okay, so welcome on number 12. Now, first of all, I just want to take a couple of minutes, and by the way, we're going to be passing around the sign-in sheet. Please make sure that you do sign in. I'd appreciate that very much. Okay, so let me begin by saying that I've known the author, Harv Eker, since we were 10 years old, so that's 55 years. I've known him a very, very, very long time. Now, Harv was always a very, very entrepreneurial, high-risk, go for the gusto kind of guy. And when he got into the business of becoming an entrepreneur, from the time Harv was in his early 20s till his mid-30s, Harv was a miserable failure in entrepreneurship. How many can identify with that? Yeah, he tried business after business after business after business, and for one reason or another, every single business, for one reason or another, would fail. And now he's in his mid-30s, and he's trying to figure out how in the world, I've got a wife, I've got a baby daughter on the way, how in the world am I going to be able to support these people? I can't figure out how to create a business that works. But guys, no conversation, please. Okay, thank you. So how am I going to create a business? How can I create a business that I can support my family? So Harv was passionate. So when I tell you the story, Mitch, hello, Mitch. No sidebar conversations. Thanks. All right. Sorry. All right. So here's Harv. He's trying to figure out, and there are certain keys to this story I want for you to appreciate. So the first thing is, Harv had no money. So he was broke. How many of you guys can identify with that? You don't have a lot of money. Okay, so he said, well, if he believes it takes money to make money, what are his chances of being successful in business? He's broke. Yeah. Should he even try to get into business? He's broke. Right? But he said, no. It doesn't take money to make money. It takes creativity. What's it take?
Creativity.
That's what he said. He said it takes creativity to make money. How many would agree with that? Okay. When were you trained with that? When were you trained to take creativity to make money?
Never.
How many of you guys can be creative? How many of you believe creativity is something you can actually get better at? Totally, absolutely. If we want to get better at creativity, I guarantee you, every single one of you, how do you get better at being more creative? Practice, yeah. Do you think there are books out there? Do you think there are courses, there are seminars, there's YouTube videos on, here are 10 exercises you can do every day that's going to improve your creativity. Raise your hand if you think that those kinds of things are out there. If you wanted to program your brain to be more creative, do you think you could?
Yes.
Raise your hand if you believe you could learn how to become more creative. Well, Harv said, if I want to get rich, it doesn't take money to make money, it takes creativity. How much does it cost for you to have creativity?
Nothing.
Can you learn to, raise your hand if you can learn to be creative? Okay, if it takes creativity to make money, then how many of you can make money? Anybody that can be what? Creative. Yeah, and what did he do? He chose to be creative. What did he do? He borrowed. What did he do?
Borrowed.
$2,000 off his Visa credit card. He leveraged other people's money. What did he do?
Leveraged.
That's what he did. He paid for first and last month's rent on a store, maybe a quarter the size of this, in downtown Toronto. Back then, this is 1980, it was $1,000 a month to lease this little store. And then, because he was passionate, what's the word? Passionate. About fitness. That was one of his biggest passions. He ran every day, he worked out all the time, he lifted weights, he did yoga, anything that he could do. He was passionate about fitness. Raise your hand if you know people like that. Yeah, right? So he said, well, I'd like to get rich doing something I'm passionate about. How many think that's a good idea? How many think you should be getting rich doing something that you're passionate about?
Yes.
Okay, does everybody have passion for something?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. He said, well, if I'm going to get rich, or if I'm going to do a business that even if I'm just going to survive at, I just as soon do something I'm passionate about than something I really don't give a rat's ass about. How many think that's a pretty smart idea? That's what he did. So he contacted all these different manufacturers of home gym equipment, but only the high-end stuff, the best of the best of the best, because guess what he wanted to sell? The best. Because then it's a price war. True or true? He wanted to say, you want the best home equipment to work out in? you come to me, I have the,
Yes.
yeah, I'm not selling you the cheapest, I'm selling you the,
Yes.
yeah, so he said, so he got a hold of him, and he got one company to give him one piece of equipment on 30 days net terms. How many know what that means, 30 days net terms?
You don't have to pay until 30 days.
Yeah, so how much does it cost to have that piece of equipment in the store for 30 days?
0.
Okay, so now he has his inventory. He has one piece of equipment. It does 57 different things. It could be a rower, it could be, you could do your curls on it, you can do all kinds of different things. It's one piece of equipment, and his wholesale price is $200, and he's selling it retail for $595, basically $600. So how much is his profit on each bike?
400.
$400. Okay. So now he takes a box and he tears it apart, and on the inside of the box he writes, "Home gym equipment, the very best. Come on in." And he sticks it on the front of the window of his store. A handwritten sign, because he didn't have money to do anything else. You guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So how much has he invested so far?
0.
Of other people's money. Now he has his inventory, he has his sign, and now he comes up with a really funny, cool sales presentation where he actually stands by the door, kind of like brings them into the store and has them sit down on the equipment and has them start using the equipment. Now, do you think that's a good idea to have a prospect come in and start using the equipment? Yeah. I take you for a test drive, right? Okay. After a while, he gets really good at it. In his first month, he sells 12 bikes. How many?
12.
Okay, and how much is his profit per bike?
400.
$400. How much did he make in his first month? $4,800. That pays for the second month's rent, which is $1,000. He had $3,800. He paid himself a little salary, and with the rest of his money, he got 2 more pieces of equipment. So now his store in the second month didn't have 1 piece of equipment; it had 3 pieces of equipment. And in the second month, he sold like about 50 bikes. Now, what's 50 bikes times $400 profit per bike?
$20,000.
$20,000. Is that a difference?
Yeah.
Third month, not bad, right? Okay. Now, how much of his own money has he put into this business so far?
Yeah.
0. By the time he's been at it for 6 months, he goes to the guy that's giving him the inventory and he says, "I need to ask a favor of you. I need to ask you that instead of giving me 30 days terms for my next shipment, I need 60 days terms." What does that mean? That means he doesn't have to pay on that shipment for how long?
60 days.
2 whole months. And the guy said, "I can't do that, Art." He said, "Look, I'm your #1 guy. Without me, your business is going to be cut in half. I'm only going to ask you this once. You know I'm good for it. I need 60 days terms on this next deal, or else I'm going to have to look for another supplier." Art was a tough negotiator, by the way. He was great at negotiating. Do you need to be good at negotiating?
Absolutely.
Everything I'm telling you, what I'm telling you he did, is exactly what you need to be doing. But he had no money, just like most of you. True or true? Okay. But he had creativity. What did he have? Creativity. Yeah, he knew what he needed to do, and he knew he could go ahead and do it, and nothing was going to stop him because he was a freaking warrior. True or true?
True.
He had a wife, he had little babies on the way. He needed to make this work. True or true? He made this into a huge success. Well, guess what he did when he got the owner to agree that they would give 60 days terms? Guess what he did with all that money that he wasn't going to have to pay?
Open more stores.
He opened up 2 more stores the same day. Now he has a chain of 3 stores. Good or good?
Good.
Read anything, that's not a bad idea. And within 2 years, he has a chain of 10 stores. Guess what he did with that chain of 10 stores? Sold it to the H.A. Heinz Corporation, you know, the ketchup people. Walked away with $1.6 million in his pocket. How many of you guys would like to do that in a couple of years? How much of his own money did he put into this?
0.
No, it doesn't take money to make money. It takes
Creativity.
You could do exactly what he did. In less than 3 years, you guys could build a business that you could sell to somebody else that wants a business that they can't know how to build on their own. Do you think most people know how to build a successful business?
No.
No, that's why people buy franchises. Because then they're buying somebody else's successful business model. True or true?
True.
Yeah, the big money is in building the business model. Once you build it, do you think people want to buy it?
Yeah.
If you have a money machine, a business that you took 1 or 2 or 3 years to build, and now every month it brings in 50 grand a month. whether you're there or you're on the golf course or you're in Bora Bora or up in the cabin, because you've systemized the whole business, you've set it up properly, you got your sales people in place, you got your marketing people in place, you got your operations in place, you've actually set up a real legitimate business, not some BS that maybe you're thinking about, but I mean a real business, and they're turning $50,000 profit a month. Guess who gets to enjoy those profits?
You do.
Yeah, if you want to sell it, do you think anybody would like to buy a business that makes $50,000 a month of profits? You think you'd have any problem finding a buyer?
Nope.
No, you'd have no problem finding a buyer. Did you know that there are companies out there have what's called mergers and acquisitions department? Raise your hand if you've ever heard of that. You know how much money they have to spend on your little business that's making lots of money? They got so much money, they can write you a check for $5 million and that comes out of petty cash. Now, petty cash to them is $5 million petty cash to you. Could you be set up for the rest of your life if you manage that money properly? If in the next 1 or 2 or 3 years you could build a business that you could sell for $3, $4, $5 million, would you be set up for the rest of your life? Or what if you don't want to sell the business? Could you somehow manage to live on $50,000 a month of income?
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about here. Now, are you programmed to be that person? How many different programs do you need to install in your brain to become that person? To become that level 10 person?
A lot.
Yeah, no, it took me 45 years to get that programming. My undergraduate school, my graduate school, my time at Xerox, my time with Deloitte, you know, working with Harvard. It's taken me a long time to get the book smarts and the degrees and the diplomas and everything else. But the book smarts aren't what's going to make it for you. It's important to know the book smarts, but what's 10 times more important than the book smarts are the street smarts. Now, if you know the book smarts and the street smarts, so much the better. There's pretty much no department in any business that I haven't analyzed and evaluated and installed systems for. And many businesses have many departments, but almost all of them have production, operations, sales, and marketing. Sure. And do you think that there are systems to make sure that your sales team are operating at 100% efficiency? Raise your hand if you believe that there are systems. How about for your marketing, so that you're always creating great marketing for your salespeople and great marketing so that everybody knows who the heck you are? I mean, you think that you can live out those skills? Sure. How about creating systems to handle all the day-to-day stuff that needs to be going on? Some people call it a daily method of operation. What's it called? Daily method of operation. Come on, that was wait. So what's again?
Daily method of operation.
Yeah. So in other words, no more haphazard. 99% of all the people I know are what? Yeah, every day it's kind of like haphazard. Well, maybe I think I'll do this, or maybe I think I'll do that. It's kind of like whatever comes up at the spur of the moment. True. You think that's how most people are programmed. You cannot be that person, right? So Harv wrote up. So Harv, and I've known Harv forever. Harv is truly a genius when it comes to business, entrepreneurship, and leading you down a path. And basically, when I worked with Harv back in 2003, 4, and 5. What we were really at the beginnings of what became just one of the world's greatest business and personal success training companies, and Harv is now pretty much retired. But Harv basically said this. He said, number one is, if you want to live in your higher self, if you want to live a life filled with courage, purpose, and joy, how many would like to live that life? Courage, purpose, and joy. Yeah. He says, I'm the guy that can show you how to do that. Because you don't have this training right now. It's not installed in your program. So if you want courage, purpose, and joy in your life, then I'm going to help you install that information, because I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to install it. And he called that the Enlightened Warrior Training Program. An Enlightened Warrior was to become that person who understood that there was a higher self and a false self, and understood that they had to take control of their higher self, so that they were playing at their very, very best all the time. How many think that's a good idea? And then he said, you know what? After you realize that you're unstoppable, the next thing is I want you to figure out, what is your greatest passion in life? What's your greatest passion in life? Because you're going to spend more time working at your work than just about anything else. How many would agree? So why not invest that time, all those hours, into something that you're already passionate about? Does that make sense? That's when Harv started the personal development training program. He was passionate about sharing his wisdom and knowledge with other people that wanted to get to where he got. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So he did something he was passionate about. So he created a program, and the name of that program was called Life Directions. Now he has another program, and I actually teach this program. It's called Get Rich Doing What You Love. What's it called?
Get rich doing what you love.
How many think that would be a wonderful thing to happen in your life, to get rich doing what you love? So get rich doing what you love means that if you're unstoppable, then the next thing you need to do is figure out, well, what do I really, really, really love to do? And what's a way that I can convert what I love to do into something that's of value to people out there that I could actually create a business around? Does that make sense? Raise your hand if that makes sense to you. Okay. So get rich doing what you love. So once you realize that you want to get rich doing what you love, then the next thing he said is, I need to teach you basic business skills. Because 98% of all the people going out there into the world today that say they want to be an entrepreneur do not even know basic
Skills.
That's like saying, I'm going to become an NBA basketball player not knowing you have to dribble, pass, and shoot. What are the chances you're going to succeed in that arena? And that's the problem with almost everybody in this room, is you do not know the basic business skills it takes to go from small to big in a hurry. And if you don't know them, you can't apply them. And if you can't apply them, chances are you're going to make the same kind of mistakes everybody else makes. True. So I'm going to teach you step by step what are the basic business rules. So starting from agree, that makes sense. He said, well, you know what? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you what my greatest passion in life is, and it's called marketing. What's the word? Marketing. He says, if you're great at marketing, you will get rich. If you suck with marketing, you will be poor. How many believe that's true? Yeah. By the way, is marketing a learnable skill?
Yes.
Yeah, it sure is. And Harv said, I'm going to teach you my secrets. I'm going to teach you exactly how I market, why I do better than 99.9% of all the public speakers out there, personal development gurus out there. Why am I in the top 1/10 of 1%? Because I can market, and all the other gurus out there, they're good at being a guru, but they don't know how to market. I know how to market. I know how to get thousands of people to come to my events. How would you like to have that skill? Yeah. And how do you think he's able to get thousands of people to come to his events? He's great at
Marketing.
Yeah. How would you like to become great at marketing? Absolutely. So he says, I'm going to teach you step by step exactly how to market. And by the way, all of these programs I'm telling you about, you're going to be able to take right here in Phoenix with me if you want them. Every single one of these programs, because you need them. Now after that, he says, what's the best way for you to personally market yourself and position yourself as the authority? What do you think is the best way to market yourself and position yourself as the authority?
Get in front of people.
Yeah! Speak in front of groups of people. If you go to an event and somebody is going to be speaking, what do you naturally assume about the person who's speaking?
They're the expert.
Yeah! Are they a salesperson or are they the expert?
Expert.
Yeah, so when they talk on the stage, are you listening to a salesperson or are you listening to an expert?
Expert.
Do you want to position yourself as a salesperson or as an expert?
Expert.
Then guess what you need to get good at?
Speaking.
Yeah. So that Harv had a whole program. He says, hey, if you'd like to create a business just like my peak potentials, I'll teach you exactly how to do it. I'll teach you how to speak in front of the stage. In fact, you won't be like everybody else. I'll teach you my way of speaking. My way of speaking is not like everybody else's. How many would agree? I use accelerated learning techniques. I use NLP. I use suggestology. I use all these things. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you notice that rarely does 1 or 2 minutes go by without me asking a question? Have you ever noticed that? Raise your hand if you notice that. Even if I say something like, at the end of my sentence, I say, does that make sense? Is that a question?
Yeah.
Does that keep you involved?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll notice that I never ever go more than, and by the way, when you come up here on speak and I want to talk, we'll make sure we have enough time to talk about that, because I'll be gone in August, and I want all of you guys to step up, step out of your comfort zone, and speak from this stage. Because that's one of the greatest skills you can have. Well, you know, basically, so there's a program that Harv created, and now I teach it. And basically, it teaches you how to speak from the stage and how to speak effectively. How many would like to be able to do that? Because can you impact a lot more lives if you can speak effectively from a stage? How many of you would?
Yes.
How many of you would love to be able to share your value with lots and lots of people? Then this is a no-brainer. This is absolutely a no-brainer, right? And then the last thing is, if you truly and honestly want to become have this unlimited potential, you have to truly become a great leader. What do you have to become?
A great leader.
Yeah. Now, do you think leaders are born, or do you think you can turn yourself into a leader? What do you think? Absolutely. You can learn how to become a leader. So when you learn leadership skills, when you learn how to inspire people to follow you, inspire people to work with you, inspire people to buy from you, when you can create a vision and an image that people can buy into, and you know how to lead properly the people the right way, you've got it all. So Harv said, give me 12 months. I'll take you through these programs. When you're done, you'll be a level 10 person. True, true?
True.
What could you do if in 12 months from now you were unstoppable, you knew exactly what your passion was, you knew exactly how to build a business the right way, your marketing skills were second to none, you could speak from a stage and you could lead like nobody else? What would that do to you? Woo! Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
Okay, how many of you want to install those programs in your mind? Well, then you want to be part of the 2% Club. Because there's no other club in Phoenix that's anywhere that I know of that can take you down that path. True, true? True. Thank you. So Harv wrote a book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and I want to make sure we cover wealth fund number 12, which again is on page 131. And he says, rich people think both. Poor people think either or, right? And basically what he says is rich people live in a world of abundance. What's the word? Abundance. Yeah. Poor people live in a world of limitations. What's the word?
Limitations.
Yeah, it's kind of like scarcity versus abundance. And it's kind of like, do you look at the glass as half full or half empty? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Right? It's the way we look at the world. He says poor and middle class people come from scarcity. They live by the motto such as, there's only so much to go around, there's never enough, and you can't have everything. And Harv says, you know what, as far as I'm concerned, maybe you can't have everything in the world, but you can certainly have everything you want to be a happy person. How many believe in that? See, that's what Harv says. He says, do you want a successful career or a close relationship with your family? Both. You want both, right? He says, do you want to focus on business or have fun and play? Both. Yeah, both, exactly. He said, do you want money or meaning in your life? Both. Yeah. Do you want to earn a fortune or do you want to do the work you love? Both. Yeah. Poor people always choose one. Rich people choose what?
Both.
Both. Rich people understand that with a little creativity, and what's the magic word?
Creativity.
Come on, twice as loud.
Creativity.
Yeah, with a little creativity. Harv is always big on creativity. If you want to be an entrepreneur, guess what you have to excel at?
Creativity.
You sure do. Don't even think about being an entrepreneur if you're not a creative person thinking outside the box. You've got to be creative. You've got to come up with solutions where it doesn't seem like there's any solution to be had. Harv had no money. He wanted to build a business. He had to be what? Creative. Can all of us be creative?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Harv says. If you want both in life, you have to be what?
Creative.
Yeah. Okay, he says, how can I have both? What's the question?
How can I have both?
This is the most important question you should be asking yourself all day long. How can I have both? How can I have this and how can I have that? He says at the bottom of page 131 and the top of 132, well, I remember this well because I was running the company at the time. We had a vendor and we hired the vendor to do some work for us. And now the vendor was saying that they wanted to charge us more because they forgot to budget in some expenses. And Harv said in his old days, he would have gone in there and said, hey, I got a contract, this is bullshit, you got to live up to your contract, I'm sorry, too bad about you, you lose. He said, but I want to do business with this guy in the future. So how can I get what I want right now, which is I want the contract to be lived up to, and how can I make him happy in the future? How can I have both? because I want to work with this guy in the future. Now, is that an important question to ask?
Yes.
Yeah. So what he did was he said, he's told the guy, he said, look, he says, it's not my job for you to price out your business. That's your job before you submit me the bid. True or true?
True.
You know, I signed a contract with you in good faith. Anybody I do business with, when you sign a contract with me, it's important that you live up to your end of the bargain. I'm sorry that you did this incorrectly this time, but I expect as a business person, you're going to live up to your contract. Now, the next time we do it, as long as I love your services, now that I understand that you have these additional charges, if you want to go ahead next time and up it the next time, that's something totally different. Because I really like you, I'd love to be able to do business with you in the future, but this is our agreement for this one. I expect you to live up to your agreement. But I definitely don't have a problem in the future if you want to adjust your bids to us, because now you know that there's, and as long as I know you, like you, and trust you, I'll give you the business. Now, do you think he got both?
Yes.
Yeah. He didn't piss off the other guy. The other guy lived up to the contract, and at the same time, you know, he was happy that, well, if I do a good job for Harv this time, Harv's a big company, I'll get a lot more of his business. Okay. Good idea?
Yes.
Yeah, do you think most people look at things that way? No. Hey, you signed a contract, yeah, blah, 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 right? He says, I've trained myself to think in terms of both. And guess what you need to train yourself to?
Both.
Yeah, you got to be thinking both, right? Exactly. So he said, here's another example. Now this is so funny, because every time I read this, it makes my heart warm. Because here's what he wrote. Here's another example. Several months ago, I decided to purchase a vacation home in Arizona. Of all the places in the world that he could have chosen to buy a vacation home, he chose to buy it where? Arizona. Yeah, literally about 15 minutes from here. Now, why do you think he's writing this book, and while he's writing this book, he decides he's going to buy a vacation home in Arizona?
Because of you.
Because every time that's right. Every time that I would fly down to Phoenix to spend a few days with Sue and just remember what my home looked like, I would fly back up to Vancouver, and I would bring ASU gear, because he had a daughter, Maddie, and he has his son, right, Jesse, and I would bring them ASU gear. ASU baseball caps and sweatshirts and shorts and all kinds of ASU gear, because I figured, hey, you know what? Wouldn't that be cool if Harv's kids came down to ASU just like I did? And so I started bringing them all this ASU gear, and whenever I'd be over at the house and I'd see the kids, I'd say, you know, when you decide you want to go to college, you ought to check out ASU. And guess where both kids ended up going to school? And after Jesse graduated from ASU with a marketing degree, guess who he came to work with? Yours truly. Had a company
You programmed them.
What's that?
You programmed them.
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, I was actually, it was great. So when I remember Harv said, what the hell, Jeff? You're my chief operating officer. You're down there. The kids want to go down there. Maybe we'll get a house down there, right? So, and he was writing the book while all this was going on. When I first joined up with him, he'd already sold thousands of copies of a book. He didn't know the title of the book yet. He didn't know what the topic of the book was. The first year that I worked with Harv, he was writing the book. Right? Brilliant marketing. The book didn't come out until 2005. He wrote this chapter in 2004. By then, I was already his chief operating officer, and the kids had decided they were coming down to ASU. So, just an aside, right? So I always get a kick, because he decided he didn't want to spend over $1 million for the kind of home he wanted. Okay? Now, back then, $1 million was a pretty good price for a vacation home.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like over 15 years ago, right? So, and he made up his mind that he knew exactly the house he wanted, he knew the exact area he wanted to live in, and he was dead set on not spending more than $1 million. And the agent that he had working with him said, Harv, you're never going to get what you want in the area that you want for $1 million. You're never going to get it. And if you read the book, what does Harv say? He says, lo and behold, there was this one doctor, I think it was a doctor, and suddenly they were highly motivated to sell, and they dropped their price down to $980,000. So he got the exact house he wanted in the exact area he wanted for the exact amount he wanted to pay. And that all is it shows about the power of setting intentions. The power of setting intentions. Yeah, because he wanted to have both. What did he want?
Both.
He set the intention to have both. Yeah. Guess what you need to get to start setting the intention to have? Both. Yeah. He says another example of it is when I told my parents that I didn't want to get a law degree, I want to go out and become an entrepreneur. And they said, well, no, business is business and pleasure is pleasure, and you don't mix. And Harv said, man, if I got to spend my life doing something I hate for 5 days a week so I can look forward to my weekends and my vacations, that is not going to work for me. I want to be able to do what I love to do all the time and make a lot of money. I want to have
Both.
I want to have what?
Both.
I want to have what?
Both.
Yeah. Yeah. His parents didn't approve. And he said, well, I love you parents, but you know what? I got to live my own life. True. Yeah. Now, do you think a lot of people do what their parents tell them to do because they listen to their parents? They sure do. And they do things that their parents want them to do that they don't really have any desire to do. True. To please or to please our girlfriend or our boyfriend or our spouse or whoever it is we want to please. Because we're more interested in being people pleasers than pleasing ourselves. True. Yeah, that's the way it is. Yes, go ahead, Janice.
But that's a cop-out.
In what's it called?
Well, it's a cop-out in the sense you give up your life, thinking you want to do somebody else's life instead of your own.
That's why Harv trains warriors. Because when you become a warrior, you know whose opinion you care about? Your own. You know who else's opinion you care about? Yours. You don't give a rat's ass what anybody else says about you. You really don't. The only opinion that matters is your own opinion of yourself. True. So if you're a superstar, then you don't give a shit in your own mind. If you're a superstar and somebody thinks you're a loser, do you give a shit what they think?
No.
No, absolutely not. You don't. It doesn't matter. The only thing that truly matters in life is what you think about yourself. Life is not a popularity contest. The idea is not to necessarily get everybody to like you. The only person that really has to like you is who? You. You're right? And you know what? If you have 2 or 3 or 4 good, loyal friends in your life, that's all you really need. True. That's all you need. You don't need to have everybody adoring you. You don't, right? So, he says, nowhere is both thinking more important than when it comes to money. He says, poor and middle class people believe that they have to choose between making money and other aspects of life. Consequently, they rationalize the position that money is not as important as other things. So here's what I want you to understand. What's more important, your arm or your leg? Or are they both important?
Both.
Yeah. It's the same thing when it comes to money. Exactly the same thing. Money is important in your life in the areas where money is important. And money is totally unimportant in your life in the areas where money is not important. True. Yeah, but I would say that if you live in North America or in almost anywhere in the world, money is about as important as air. How many would agree with that? You gotta have it. You can't deposit your good vibes into the bank. You can't pay your rent with good vibes. You gotta pay with real what?
Money.
Real money. It takes real money in the real world. True. Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, you need to understand it that money is important. And when we say, you know what, money's not that important, is that just rationalizing and justifying because we can't make it? Yeah. Do you think that's that little voice just saying, it's not that important anyways? Well, that's bullshit, guys. Money is important. How can you have money and all the other things in life you want? Because your money is as important to your life as just about any other thing. And you may as well admit that right now. You guys understand what I'm talking about? Yes. You need to have a certain amount of money to survive. Now, some people, they can survive on $2,000 a month. Other people can't survive on less than $5,000 a month. Other people can't survive on less than $10,000 a month. Everybody has their level. True. Now, once you have more than that, what you're going to find is that you don't need all that money. You can actually, if you're a generous person, money allows you to be what? More generous. Yeah, if you're a very kind person, money allows you to be what? More kind. No, if you're a cheap, miserly person, money allows you to be what? More cheap, more miserly. Money's not going to change who you are. It's not. But I'd much rather be in a position to have too much of it than not enough of it. How many would agree with that? Okay, and that's what Harv wants you to understand, that money is important. So there's a belief out there among a lot of people that says, well, if I have more, that must mean somebody has less. How many have ever heard of that idea? If I have more, that must mean that somebody else has to have less. I'm sorry, what's that?
That makes no sense whatsoever.
It makes no sense whatsoever, but the whole idea is if you come from a world where you see limitations rather than abundance, if you see scarcity rather than abundance, there's only so much to go around. So if you have too much, in my opinion, hey, there are people starving out there. You should give away everything you got to all the people that are starving. Anything more than enough to survive, you're being a pig. You're being greedy. There's billions of people starving on this planet. You've got money in the bank. These people are starving. What's wrong with you? Don't you have compassion for your fellow man? Do you think there are people that believe that if you're not giving away everything you got above what you're earning, that you're being greedy? How many believe that? There are people out there that believe it.
They're called
They're
money
greedy
monks.
people. What are they called?
They're called money monks.
Money monks. Money monks. Exactly. Go ahead, Janice.
Well, nature teaches me abundance. I have trees in my yard who come up with abundance of nuts and things, and they don't all come in the trees, but they feed the animals or whatever, and the tree just abundantly goes on and on to an abundance.
Yeah, and you know, is there a limited supply of money in the world?
No.
Is there?
No.
Is every country printing billions of dollars of new money every single day?
Yes.
So even if you had all the money in the world, tomorrow there'd be even more. True or true?
True.
There's always more money. And going back to your point, Janice, is the universe abundant?
Yes.
Yeah. Are there billions of stars? Are there billions of planets? Are there billions of suns? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Are there billions of gallons of water? Are there billions of birds? Are there billions of fish? Are there billions of humans? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Okay. If the world is abundant, if the universe is abundant, are you part of the universe?
Yes.
Then by nature, shouldn't you be abundant as well?
Yes.
Is it natural for you to be abundant?
Yes.
The only thing that stops you from being abundant is what?
No.
Programming.
That's not natural. Because if it was, you would be abundant. You're part of the universe. How many would agree?
I am.
Is the universe completely and totally abundant?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Then by law, the only thing that stops you from being completely and totally abundant right now is what?
Me.
Your current programming. True or true?
Conditioned mind.
Absolutely. So and the other thing to keep in mind is that it's not like money. You know, there's something about the fact that value can be transferred. If I say to Janice, I will pay you $5 for you to give me, you know, some information, and you give me information, you provided value to me, I gave you $5. Isn't that true? Now Janice, after that, talks to Mitch and says, Mitch, you see that coffee cup right there? I really need a coffee cup. I'd like to buy that coffee cup for $5. You take the same $5 that I gave you, and now Mitch has it, and Mitch gave you value in return. Isn't that true? Okay. True. Now Mitch talks to Robert and says, Robert, you know what? You have something I'd really like to buy. I got $5. Would you be willing to take it? And Robert says, that's a great idea. Now the same $5 I gave to Janice has now gone to Mitch, is now going to Robert. And every single time was there a transfer of value?
Yes.
Same $5 bill, look how many times that same $5 bill can transfer value. True or true? Raise your hand if I understand what I just said. So even if there was only a limited amount of money, is there a limited amount of value that can be transferred? No. There's unlimited amounts. True or true?
True.
So you need to understand that. So very, very important. So Harv says that. He says at the end, he says, if you really want to live a life without limits, how many want to live a life without limits?
Yes.
Thank you. He says, let go of either or thinking and maintain the intention of having
Both.
Okay. So I want everybody to stand up right now with a little bit of energy. Okay, so I say the and put my hand on my heart, and you guys are going to repeat it after me. I always think both. Hear ya. I always think both. Again, please. I always think both. One more time, it's loud. I always think both. Okay, turn to both your neighbors. Okay, have a seat.
Book a little bit.
Please do. All right, have a seat, guys.
Oh, shit.
All right, Randy, tell us what's going on Facebook.
We have 42 people, or 43, including Casey Kaler, Sonia Ray, Ryan D. Winkle,
Oh, Brian, very good.
Brian, and Omar Corretto.
Omar, very good to have you.
What?
Okay, there you go.
Many more, yeah. Joseph,
We don't have time to go.
Joe Ramirez, Joe Ramirez.
So first of all, we're gonna sign off to our Facebook people. So everybody that's on Facebook, I always have one word. I thank you all for tuning in. Now, what's up?